Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Government, Labor, and Election Law. I'm Delegate Chair Wells, joined by my Vice Chair, Delegate Ken Kerr. Today is Tuesday, March 17th, and we have a full house. We thank you all for your patience as we work through what we call our lead up to crossover week, so we will likely have double sessions this week, so we really appreciate y'all's patience. Just want to begin by stating that today we will we're limiting sponsor testimony to 3 minutes, and that our witness testimony will be limited to 1 minute. So we do have a lot of folks here to testify today, and we're excited for you to be here, but we are working under a time crunch. We appreciate your cooperation with the time limits that we are putting in place for today's bill hearing. With that, we will begin with HB 1056, Delegate Alston.
All right. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, and the esteemed members of the House GLEE, as I prefer to say, Lego Committee. It is great to be with you all this afternoon. Today we're here to present a very important bill, the Purple Light Bill. What this bill will do is authorize the governor to make October 1st Purple Light Night in the state of Maryland. Domestic violence is a scourge on our community. It affects so many different people, and this day brings awareness to all of the issues that the survivors have faced. Because of the nature of this bill, I would like to cede my time as the sponsor to my chief witness, Ms. Jacqueline Roan, and I think I was able to do that in almost a minute. I want to thank all of the sheriff's departments that are here and the women from 100 Black Women, if they could stand to show their support. And with that, I turn it over to my witness.
Thank you very much. You may begin.
Good afternoon.
Sorry. Okay. You don't push it.
Don't touch it.
You're good. It'll come on in a second. Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Jackie Roan, and I am providing testimony on behalf of the Purple Light Nights Bill, House Bill 1056. I am a Prince George's County current resident and also the manager of the Domestic Violence Division at the Office of the Sheriff. I've got over 20 years of experience supporting and serving domestic violence victims in the county. The provision of this bill is brief, but the potential and impact of the outcome for the Purple Light Night Bill is significant in supporting victims and survivors of domestic violence by raising awareness on this very serious issue. The bill designates October 1st as the Purple Light Nights initiative. However, my hope is that communities across the state will recognize and participate in the initiative not only on October 1st, but also throughout the entire month, which is recognized as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Purple Light Nights encourages individuals, families, businesses, organizations to display purple light bulbs as a visual sign of solidarity in supporting victims and survivors of domestic violence. These lights represent more than just a symbol of light. It's hope, it's love, it's strength, and unity for survivors. Within the community, they also can represent resilience, healing, and support for those impacted by domestic violence. I am incredibly proud of Sheriff Carr for serving in the public safety as a public safety leader in promoting and expanding Purple Light Nights initiative to surrounding counties with the goal to one day have the entire state lit purple in support of victims and survivors. Sheriffs from Montgomery County, Charles County, Howard County, Anne Arundel County, and Baltimore City have joined in Sheriff Carr's effort. And this should be commended because historically, public safety has not been recognized as a trusted partner to victims and survivors of domestic violence. The Purple Light Initiative creates opportunities for meaningful conversations throughout our communities. Faith-based organization, I'm done, sorry.
Thank you.
One life is one life too many.
Thank you very much, Ms. Roan. Our next presenter, witness.
Good afternoon. My name is Michelle, and I am the president of 100 Black Women in Southern Maryland. Thank you for this opportunity. Tonight, or even today, somewhere in Maryland, someone will be hurt by a person they love, and many of them will suffer in silence, afraid, isolated, and unsure if anyone sees them or even cares. Domestic violence thrives in darkness. This is why designating October 1st as Purple Lights Night in Maryland matters. A purple light may seem small, but for someone living in fear It can mean everything. It says you're not invisible, you're not alone, and help does exist. It tells survivors that their pain is acknowledged, and it tells our communities that their silence is no longer acceptable. This is not just a symbolic act. It is a visible, unified statement that Maryland stands against domestic violence and stands with the survivors. I urge you to support this designation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, committee Good afternoon, Madam Chair, committee members. I am Sheriff John Carter, Sheriff of Prince George's County, and I am here seeking a favorable review of this House bill for Purple Light Nights. Purple Light Nights is something that the Prince George's County Office of the Sheriff started, now getting ready to be 13 years. My predecessor, Sheriff Melvin High, started the program, and I wanted to continue the program as it highlights awareness for domestic violence. As we continue to highlight that, we've had wonderful partners such as the 100 Black Women of Southern County. We've also had legislators who actually participate in support. This is basically highlighting domestic violence, not only here in Prince George's County, but really throughout the state. As we look at our numbers through the courts, we still have high numbers of peace and protective orders that are issued and actually served by the sheriffs. I am happy that fellow sheriffs from Montgomery County, Charles County, Howard, and Arundel all supported me, and also Calvert County. And I'm asking for a favorable review of Purple Light Night.
Thank you very much.
And St. Mary's, I'm sorry, I want to make sure, because they are here.
Yes, thank you for clarifying that they are also included. Are there any questions for our bill sponsor and the sponsor panel? Okay, seeing none, I want to thank the bill sponsor and your sponsor panel. We do have some additional individuals listed today: Edith Perry, Crystal Hall, and Cassandra Freeman. They are with us in the room.
Good afternoon, members of the Government, Labor, and Elections Committee. I am honored as a survivor of domestic violence to present this bill. It was kind of hard for me to even write testimony because you never forget. You always remember. I was very fortunate to have resources to help me leave my situation. When I was going through domestic violence issues, there was no resources to help. I had to do everything on my own. Fortunately, I worked for a company that enabled to give me a leave of absence until I got my life together. The one thing that made me leave my abuser was a police officer told me, "Do not call me anymore. Kill him and I'll come pick up the body." He put me in the hospital 3 times. I finally got my life together. I was afraid to leave because I didn't want to leave all my things, and I had young children. But as abusers do, I was on the West Coast, and most of my family was on the East Coast, and I hid it from them. The purple light is a beacon of hope. It tells the world that we want to eliminate domestic violence. So I sincerely respect and honor this committee to give this a favorable vote, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am, thank you so much for your testimony and for sharing your story with us as well. Could you please, just for the record, state your name?
Edith Perry.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Perry. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Chair Wells and Co-Chair Delegate Kerr, as well as the committee. I come before you as a niece, a daughter-in-law, and a mother of victims of domestic violence. You can hear all about the various statistics from others and how it is a scourge on all of us. But as an example, my family has experienced it firsthand. I had an aunt whose domestic partner beat her so severely that she was blinded in one eye. As a result of that, she suffered severe brain damage and ultimately died of dementia. My mother-in-law was also a victim of domestic violence, where my deceased husband and his deceased brother removed her from the home in which she shared with my father-in-law to a safety area. I also had my youngest son, who was dating a young woman who was a student at the University of Maryland, 5'1", 100 pounds. My son is 6'4" and 200 pounds, and she abused him, and he was taught not to hit women. So as a result of that, he would punch holes in his bedroom wall to release his aggression. I found out about the situation by finding the holes in his bedroom wall. I told him that I had to remove him from that particular situation, and if it occurred again, that I would be the one to take care of her physically myself, rather than he take the charge. I said, I can take the charge. I don't have a problem doing that, but you are my child, and I'm going to protect you. So as a mother, a daughter-in-law, and an aunt, I'm sorry, a niece, I saw it firsthand, and I really wish you would favorably vote for this particular initiative. Thank you for your consideration.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Dr. Crystal Hall, and I am honored to be here today to testify for the support of the Purple Lights bill. When most people hear of domestic violence, they associate it with intimate partner violence, but that is not always the case. Domestic violence also includes mistreatment of any family member or intimate partner by another. So in 2022, I received a frantic call from one of my nieces asking if I could take in my 10-year-old great-nephew so that he wouldn't be placed with CPS. 2 days later, instead of becoming empty nesters, my husband and I took our first-year freshman daughter to college in Baltimore, and later that evening picked up my nephew. Unbeknownst to us, it would be the beginning of a 2-year kinship care commitment. My nephew's mother, my oldest niece, was not only being physically abused, but was also emotionally abusing her son and physically abusing him as well. As a mental health professional, I recognize the long-term harm and cyclical nature of domestic violence within families. Therefore, I strongly support the Purple Lights Night bill and I ask for your support as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for your testimony and for sharing really your emotional experiences as well. Just think if we have any further questions from the committee. Seeing none, we thank you all for coming in today for your testimony. Thank you to the bill sponsor as well, and to our sponsor panel. That concludes the bill hearing for HB 1056. We'll move, thank you all, thank you so much. We'll move next to HB 524, Delegate Miraku North.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May I bring my panel?
Yes, please.
Okay. Dr. Okay, no, sit over here. Sit over here, I got you. Sit over here. Yeah, I got you. All right, great. Okay.
All right. We're just going to give them a moment to depart. If you could please, if you have any personal conversations, if you could please take them outside. Thank you. Well, including the committee as well, yeah. Thank you for clarifying, Delegate Fair.
This is going to be on, right? It's on right now.
Okay, all right. Give them just one moment. Sure. Okay, I think it's perfect now. You may begin. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chair Wells, Vice Chair Kerr, and the esteemed members of the government
Labor and Elections Committee. I come before you today to offer testimony in support of House Bill 524. I am going to yield the rest of my time to my intern, Sesson.
Delegate, we apologize. We are technical difficulties while we get this muted, so I want to.
Okay.
House delegation transmitting the position of the Prince George's County Council.
You just need our virtual witness to be muted.
Muted.
It's okay. Please start over, restart the delegate's time, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Wells, Vice Chair Kerr, and the esteemed members of the Government Labor Elections Committee. I'm Delegate Bernice Merrick North, representing District 14, and I come before you today to offer testimony on House Bill 524. Before I yield the rest of my time to my intern, I would note there will be an amendment to the bill, specifically striking African Americans after the word contributions and specifying Americans of African immigrant heritage. But with that, I'm going to yield the rest of my time to my intern to explain the bill and why we need it.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman Wells, Vice Chairman Kerr, and esteemed members of the Government, Labor, and Elections Committee. My name is Sesson Emmanuel. I am a senior at the University of Maryland, College Park, and a legislative intern for Delegate New York North. I'm also a proud Ethiopian American and Maryland resident. I'm honored to come before you today in strong support of House Bill 524, African Heritage Month, which would require the governor to declare September as African Heritage Month in Maryland. My journey to Maryland began with my father, Emmanuel Asafa, who came here at just 17 years old, seeking opportunity through education. Maryland accepted him for who he was, and through hard work and determination, he earned his bachelor's degree from Strayer University and worked daily to become a pillar in his community, always supporting those around him and Maryland economically through working multiple jobs. His story reflects thousands of African diasporas in Maryland today. According to data from 2023, about 214,000 African-born residents live in Maryland, roughly 20% of the state's immigrants. However, this number does not represent the full African community, as it excludes second-generation African communities. Many reside in Montgomery County and play a central role in sustaining local commercial corridors and filling critical labor shortages in sectors such as healthcare and essential service industries. African communities also contribute greatly to Maryland's economy, generating billions in income, 1.6 billion in taxes, including 560 million in state and local taxes. Cultural celebrations already take place, like Ghanaian Independence Day, Ethiopian and Nigerian festivals that bring together thousands of people together, boosting tourism, customer foot traffic, and local businesses. Recognizing African Heritage Month would also strengthen these contributions while affirming that African Marylanders' heritage and impacts are valued. For these reasons, and as a proud daughter of an Ethiopian American, I respectfully urge the committee to issue a favorable report on House Bill 524. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Go ahead. You got it. You're good for long. You got it. It's okay. We're practicing. You want Mr. Dr. Brown to do next? Okay, good. All right, go ahead. You got it. You good, you good, you good. Oh, it's okay. It's okay, come on. It's all right. You want to try to take a break? You want to take a break? Okay, let Dr. Brown go next, okay? All right, Dr. Brown will go next.
All right. She grandstanding me. I just
That's
don't
right.
know.
I know.
Oh, she'll be better now. Good evening, committee. Chair Wells, Vice Chair Kerr. My name is Dr. Antoine Brown. I am the Administrative Director of African Affairs and Middle Eastern American Affairs for the great state of Maryland. I've seen entrepreneurship, businesses, the strengthening of our economic development, and creating jobs throughout the state. Over the last 3 years, it's been my opportunity to spread this wonderful Heritage Month every year in September. We had the ability to have it proclaimed by the governor 2 years in a row, and this bill would help strengthen that movement so we can be able to serve, create great opportunities, and promote more community within the African diaspora. With that, I ask for this committee to vote favorable for this House Bill 524, and I want to thank you for my testimony.
All right, I believe she's ready now.
Thank you very much.
Okay, go ahead. Your name. You got it, come on.
Here, we'll
Okay. My name is Adjua North, and I am testifying in favor of House Bill 524 of making September African Heritage Month. I am the daughter of a second-generation Ghanaian immigrant mommy and African-American daddy. I learned about Black History Month in public school, and I know little in class about the contributions first and second-generation African immigrants like mommy make in society. Last September, I was helping my mom with making a video about African Heritage Month, and I learned that Maryland is home to the fourth largest African immigrant population in the country. And I thought to myself, why can't my school celebrate African Heritage Month? I wanted to ask my principal, but I was too scared. If this bill is passed, students like me will be proud of their identity and be better understood by their peers, and maybe next time I can have some Ghanaian food as my school lunch. Please vote favorable on House Bill 524.
Awesome. Great job. Thank you to the bill sponsor and the witnesses in person. Great job, Ms. Adjua North. We have virtually with us Councilperson Walla Blagay.
Hello. Thank you all so much for having me. I'm Councilmember Walla Blagay from Prince George's County. I am a Liberian and Nigerian American first generation. And sorry, I am in council today, so it might be a little noisy in the background. But I just wanted to support this bill. I want to thank Delegate North for her leadership, American North for her leadership on this, because the African community has been has had big contributions to our community. And the state of Maryland has one of the 5th largest African populations in the country. And the African population has been a big part of the healthcare community. They've been a big part of the business community. They've been accountants, doctors, nurses, you name it. And oftentimes don't get the recognition. On Prince George's County, we have one of the highest number of African elected officials, including 3 daughters of African immigrants on the council, and even a delegate that is also from Africa, from Ghana. So we have representation here, but we want to make sure that it's recognized. I even remember during COVID, a lot of the African community was going into work every day. Very little recognition at that point. So what we want to make sure is that we have the numbers, we have people who are a part of the business community providing support, and we want people to recognize them, to see the contributions that they have. Nearly a 1/4 of the businesses in Prince George's County are owned by African immigrants, and this is not just the African grocery store. This is your accountant. This is the person that owns the healthcare facility in your community. So we just want this to be recognized, and for our children to see that the African community is a big part of the Maryland community. We are lucky to have a high African American population, including our governor, but it's always good to see the diversity within the African diaspora that lives here, from the Caribbean to African American to our continental Africans. So this bill would allow it to be recognized in schools everywhere, so people can see and recognize the contributions of the African community. So thank you all so much for giving me the opportunity to testify before this committee today.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Blagay. Seeing no questions from the committee, thank you. Oh, actually, that's not true. We do have more testimony, but I want to thank the bill sponsor and responsive panel, and to Ms. Adjua North. I know public speaking can be really difficult, but you did an amazing job. So I want you to know that. We will move on to our next panel. We have Maureen. Well, I also had Basit Salamai. Okay, I didn't, so I have you listed to speak as well. And then we have Maureen Wambui and Oliver Lloyd. If you guys are in the room with us, please make your way to the table. We also have Dio Kawunde. And I think, okay, that's all the chairs we have for now, so I'll stop there. Okay, you may begin on this end, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's my time. Proceed. Thank you, Madam Chair, and honorable members of the committee here. My name is Reverend Oliver Lorenzo Simpson Lloyd Sr., and I serve as the president of the Liberian Christian Ministers, representing a coalition of African diaspora faith leaders dedicated to the unity, justice, and social economic empowerment of our economy, of our community. I also have the distinct privilege to serve as the senior pastor at All Saints World Mission Church in Montgomery County, Silver Spring. I have before you today, I bring before you today a strong, unwavering support for this bill, House Bill 524, which requires the governor of this state to annually proclaim the month of September as African Heritage Month. HB 524 formally affirms the central role of African immigrants in shaping Maryland identity. The data is clear and has been mentioned by a few of us here earlier, that in Maryland, our immigrant representation—
Mr. Lloyd, if you could please wrap up.
Thank you.
I know it's a fast 1 minute. I know it's really fast.
I don't know whether the time was—
Well, you can just make your last statement, please.
I'll make a few. Well, allow me to say here that the bill provides a necessary platform to reflect on the unique historic bond between Maryland and the African continent. Most notably in 1841, the Republic of Maryland, the first Republic of Africa, was sponsored by this very house where I'm sitting on these grounds. Many of us do not know that, but Maryland sponsored and supported the very first independent state in Africa called the Republic of Maryland. And I'm proud to be from the Republic of Liberia, where that republic was founded. I'd like to conclude real quickly by stating—
I'll give you 10 more seconds, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. By basically stating here, Madam Chair, that this bill is meaningful. It's a meaningful step toward unity, historical truth, and cultural empowerment, and it's strengthening the social fabric of this of our African and African-Maryland relationship. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lloyd. Mr.
Basit.
Okay, yes. But can you pronounce your last name, please?
Basit Salami.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Salami.
I can go? Okay, good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Basit Salami, and I represent Platinum Amala, a West African restaurant located in Baltimore, Maryland. I am here in strong support of House Bill 524. Maryland is home to one of the largest African communities in the country. We are entrepreneurs, taxpayers, and job creators, yet no designated month formally recognizes that contribution. This bill would change that. As a restaurant owner, I see firsthand African cultural celebrations drive real economic growth. Foot traffic rises, new customers discover our food, and surrounding businesses benefit. But those boosts are short-lived. A proclaimed African Heritage Month will create a sustained month-long wave of patronage, partnership, and visibility for African-owned businesses across the state. This is not just cultural recognition, it is an investment in Maryland's economy. We respectfully urge a favorable vote for House Bill 524. Thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon, Madam Chair Wells and Vice Chair Carr, all members of this committee on government, labor, and elections. My name is Deogracias Miti Kaunde, President of the African Catholic Association of the Archdiocese of Washington. I'm a board member of the National Association of African Catholics in the United States. I'm a director of the Uganda Matter Society Incorporated. I'm here on behalf of fellow African Catholic leaders, as well as other faith communities. I'm here to support the passing of House Bill 524, proposing designate September as the African Heritage Month in Maryland, creating an annual statewide platform for education, cultural celebration, and community engagement. Establishing an African Heritage Month is both meaningful and impactful. It affirms the dignity, faith, and cultural heritage of all African Catholics and people of different faith heritage, communities, and broadens the African diaspora while fostering unity, education, and economic opportunity. This will strengthen social cohesion, inspire future generations like my children who are born here, and I urge you to favorably pass this bill. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. My name is Maureen Wamboi, and I'm honored to offer my testimony in support of HB 0524. As a first-generation Kenyan American and a financial professional who has spent nearly a decade working closely with immigrant and minority communities, I have witnessed firsthand the resilience, innovation, and economic contribution that the African diaspora brings to Maryland. Much of my work centers on helping immigrants and underserved families navigate the U.S. financial system, build credit, start businesses, and create long-term financial stability for their families. Designating an African Heritage Month would recognize not only the rich cultural traditions of African communities, but also their growing role in the economic vitality of our state. It would provide an opportunity for education, cultural exchange, and greater understanding while honoring the values of hard work, resilience, and community responsibility that so many African families embody. I respectfully urge the committee to support HB 0524 and affirm the important role African heritage and communities play in shaping Maryland's present and future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for your contributions and for your testimony. Seeing no questions from the committee, thank you again for being here with us today. We will move on to our next set of witnesses with us. We have Melissa Sinclair, Metasibia Kefelgin, Austin Ashatong, and Marie Ingwoko. You may begin on this end.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Melissa Sinclair, and I'm here to testify in support of House Bill 524. Maryland ranks fourth nationally in African immigrant population, with African immigrants accounting for about 17 to 20% of the state residents as of 2024. Maryland has acknowledged the significant contributions of Africans in the state and have elevated many to key positions within the governor's office, here in the General Assembly, and many local communities. HB 524 takes this recognition further by allowing the state to officially acknowledge the broader cultural roots, traditions, and global heritage that connect many Maryland communities to the African continent. It would also encourage local African communities to organize programs, ceremonies, and activities throughout September, attracting visitors, supporting local entrepreneurship, and driving businesses across the state of Maryland. I respectfully urge a favorable report on HB 524. Thank you for your time.
My name is Metasibia Kefelgin. I'm a registered nurse in Maryland, a dreamer and co-founder of Ethiopian Nurses Association in North America, and a proud Maryland resident. I'm here to express my strong support for HB 524. African and African diaspora nurses give Maryland more than care. They give hope. They work every shift in every setting, offering clinical excellence and deep cultural understanding to the patient who needs it the most. They mentor, advocate, help close long-standing gaps in our community. Last year, the Ethiopian Nurse Association partnered with local lawmakers to support foreign educated nurses to ensure qualified professionals so they can join Maryland workforce more easily and help the nursing shortage. Across the state, African Nurses Association continue to lead with compassion and community. This bill honors their contribution, strengthens their impact, and building a stronger future for Maryland healthcare and Maryland. Thank you for the opportunity to share my testimony.
My name is Mari Weko, and I'm representing CASA. We are CASA today in strong support of Bill 524. We are CASA represent hundreds of African immigrants in Maryland, primarily from Francophone and West African nations, including Cameroon, where I am. Maryland has the fourth largest population of African immigrants in the country and has the largest share of Cameroonians outside of Cameroon. I'm a proud immigrant from Cameroon. I came to Maryland after fleeing civil unrest in my home country, searching for safety and the chance to start over. When I arrived here, I was leaving behind fear and uncertainty and stepping into a place where I could finally begin build a life with hope. I never thought I will be testifying before you today. African immigrants bring with them rich culture, language, and tradition that strengthen our community and should be celebrated. Bill 524 will allow Maryland to honor residents from the African diaspora and those of African descent by proclaiming the month of September as African Heritage Month in recognition of the contribution that African Americans have made to the state.
So
and
much,
we are
ma'am.
CASA
Could you please
proud
wrap up?
of requesting a favorable report on Bill 524.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, member of the committee. My name is Austin Asatong. I'm here today to share my strong support for HB 524, which recognizes and uplifts African Heritage Month in Maryland. I'm originally from Cameroon, where I work as an educator before being forced to leave my country due to civil unrest. Like many others, I came to the United States in search of safety and the opportunity to rebuild my life. Maryland became the place where I could begin again. The journey had not always been easy. I had to fight for a pathway to stability and immigration status, navigating a complicated system while trying to build a future. But through perseverance and the support of my community, I was able to move forward. I'm proud that I have been able to enroll in the military, bring my family here to safety, and begin building a new life together with them. As a father, what matters to me now is the future of my children. Like many immigrant parents, we came to this country not for ourselves, but for the next generation, for the chance to raise our children in a place where they can learn, grow, and reach their full potentials. So I respectfully request a favorable report on HB 524 so that we can continue to uplift African heritage and reach our communities and inspire next generation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for your testimony. Seeing no questions from the committee, we really appreciate you all being here today and for your testimony on HB 524. We have two additional witnesses, one in person, Fatima Berry. I don't know if they're here with us today, and I see her coming up, and then we will also let in virtually Ami Nibagwire.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Fatma Taberi. I am a commissioner on the Governor's Commission on African Affairs and chair of the African Heritage Month Working Group. I'm testifying today in strong support of HB 524 with a small clarifying amendment of the language in subsection A. So it reads, the governor annually shall proclaim the month of September as African Heritage Month in recognition of the contributions that African immigrants and their descendants have made to the state. Maryland, as you've heard, is home to more than 200,000 African immigrants, ranking fourth in the nation. We're doctors, lawyers like myself, bus drivers, business owners, nurses, etc. I also want to take this chance to thank Governor Wes Moore, who in 2024 became the first Maryland governor to proclaim September as African Heritage Month. I can proudly say that Montgomery County was the first jurisdiction for the last 15, 16 years in the country to recognize African Heritage Month, and events like PANAFest in Silver Spring has drawn more than 15,000 attendees, showing you the importance of having something like this. So I urge you to vote favorably for this, and I hope you do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to our virtual witness, who should be coming in shortly. Amy Newbugwire. Okay, all right, it sounds like she may be having some technical difficulties. Okay, so that concludes the bill hearing on HB 524. We will move next to Delegate Morgan for HB 97. Stephen Godfrey with you, Delegate, is that correct? We'll just, okay, yeah, the door's closing.
Okay, sports fans. Dear Chair Wells and members of the Government, Labor, and Elections Committee, thank you for the opportunity to present testimony in support of House Bill 97, state designation, state chart. The legislature will designate the Megalodon as the official state shark of Maryland. Yes, this is probably one of the most highly anticipated bills of this session. The Megalodon is getting national attention. The History Channel, Popular Science Magazine, it was even on Fox 5 DC News this morning. Other news outlets across the board. Did you know Megalodon teeth are searched on the internet over 500,000 times a year? Megalodon is searched almost 3 million times per year. Over 1,000 books are written on Megalodon. We have children's books. We have adult books. Megalodon's a popular deal. It is probably the most famous prehistoric marine animal out there, and it ranks right alongside T-Rex. So when Sinbad sailed the 7 seas, did he encounter Megalodon? It took Jason Statham 2 movies to return Megalodon to its extinction. But here today, probably less than a mile away, Megalodon roamed the Chesapeake Bay. Maybe he could have been a distant relative of Chessie, the famous monster of the Chesapeake. So how did I get here, you're wondering? Well, seriously. A few years ago, before GLEE was established, ENT went on visits to a lot of places. So in the interim, I think that I would introduce bills this year that members actually knew about. So today we have Delegate Lehman, Delegate Ruth, Delegate Terraza, and Delegate Stewart, all who toured the Calvert Marine Museum and saw shark teeth in the famed Megalodon jaw that was discovered in nearby Calvert Cliffs. Since I can't have posters, it is outside the door right now. Although now it's extinct, the shark was over 80 feet long, one of the largest sharks ever to live. This room is 52 feet long, according to Morgan Streeter. Hence, you'd have to go almost to the Democratic caucus room to imagine the length of this shark. I'm proud to represent the Calvert Marine Museum, which is the General Assembly has previously designated as the Maryland State Paleontological Collection and Research Center. The legislation was introduced at the request of the museum, which houses more than 1,700 fossilized Megalodon teeth and conducts extensive research on the species and its role in Maryland's history. In addition to the teeth, fossil, whale, and dolphin bones have been discovered on Calvert Cliffs, bear bite marks attributed to the predatory or scavenging activity of the Megalodon. So, today, just for your awareness, North Carolina has designated the Megalodon shark tooth as the state symbol. Georgia's state fossil is a shark tooth. June 15th is National Megalodon Appreciation Day. 8 states have designated a marine animal as their state. Others will follow, but Maryland will be the first one to claim a state shark. So time is now. If we don't act, the dream will drift into extinction, just as Meg did. Recognizing Megalodon as its official state shark is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Meg's been waiting 3.6 million years for this. People will sink their teeth into this for this support. So I ask to you, please give a favorable report to HB 97, and I turn it over to my crew right here. You gotta have fun in this place, okay?
Can you do it in a minute?
Yes. Chair Wells, Vice Chair Kerr, and members of the committee, honestly, I didn't expect this. My name is Stephen Godfrey, and I'm the Curator of Paleontology at the Calvert Marine Museum in Solomons. And I'm joined by my daughter, Zoe, who is helping to hold up a Megalodon tooth. And this kind gentleman over here handed this one to me to hold up as well. At 80 feet long, Megalodon was the largest shark that ever lived. Its fossilized teeth have been found in 7 counties in Maryland. It lived for more than 10 million years in the Atlantic Ocean that flooded over the eastern half of the state of Maryland. Remarkably, no shark has ever been designated as any state shark. There are many living and extinct species of shark known from Maryland, but the colossal shark Megalodon is the most iconic. Megalodon reminds us of the importance played by prehistoric and modern sharks in shaping both past and present marine ecosystems. Megalodon as our state shark, it's about choosing state icons that represent the great superlatives about this place we call home. I would like to thank Delegate Morgan for sponsoring this bill. Thank you all very much.
Your turn.
I have some shark teeth. I have some megalodon teeth for you.
Everybody gets one, and we hope that you will give them to your children or grandchildren so they can learn to enjoy the collection of shark teeth.
Thank you so much, Delegate, for the bill. To your panel, thank you for leaving a memento of the Megalodon with us. Seeing no questions from the committee, we do have one more person here to testify. Oh, wait, is there? 3.6 million years late, Delegate Tomlinson.
So it looks like you did a lot of research on this. Did you happen to watch the movie Megalodon Rising by any chance?
But Jason's, yeah, twice.
I think, are you thinking of Meg 1 and Meg 2?
Oh, then I haven't, no, I'm sorry, I haven't seen Megalodon Rising. Is it good?
Yeah.
Did you watch it? You and the baby?
So Megalodon Rising has a Rotten Tomatoes rating of 0.5 star, and it is called, this is, with a quote of, "This is honestly one of the worst films ever conceived." If you could get back to me on that.
I watched Meg 1 and 2, and you realize that they cost $150 million to make it. They made $525 million off that movie? Jason was right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Delegate, and to your panelists as well. Mr. Andy Ellis. All right, 1 minute.
Good afternoon to the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify on this. Today, I'm testifying favorable with amendment on HB 97. The amendment is simple: make the Megalodon the state historic shark. That gives it the recognition it deserves and allows this General Assembly to conduct a new process to name a living state shark. There is precedent for this. In 1998, the Astrodon was named the state dinosaur, not the state bird, not the state reptile. Those also exist. The benefit of this amendment is twofold. One, the Megalodon gets the recognition it so clearly deserves. And two, there are 41 species of existing sharks that the Department of Natural Resources is responsible for. I provided 2 appendixes with my written testimony cataloging these existing sharks. They deserve their own process and their own time on the stage, as it were, as they compete to be the living state shark. I believe we can have a multi-shark Maryland. I urge a favorable amendment on this.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ellis.
Thank you.
Seeing no questions from the committee, that concludes our bill hearing on HB 97. We will move on next to HB 458, Delegate Patterson. I know I saw Delegate Patterson here. Okay. I think she stepped out for a moment. We will move next to Delegate Bandari, HB 1327. I don't know if Delegate Bandari is here or their staff is here. Okay, we'll move on next to HB 751, Delegate Morgan.
Hey, good to see you, Madam Chair, members of GVC Committee. I'm here to present House Bill 751, Victims of Communism Memorial Day. So this bill came about kind of interesting. About 3 years ago, I was doing announcing a big event in St. Mary's County. And there's like 5,000 people at this event, and it started to rain. So we had a brief rain delay, and kids were outside like playing on something that was at a farm. And I remember this one girl, she comes out, she's probably 15 or 16 years old, and she's wearing a bright red t-shirt. And she turns, and I look, and it has the hammer and sickle of the Soviet flag. And I couldn't believe, I'm like, man, I can't believe her parents will let her walk out of the house wearing something to that, because some people deem that symbol as bad as the swastikas that the Nazis wore. And she's kind of shocked by that, so I remember talking to my wife about it. And she's like, hey, there was just a poll on the news by the Cato Institute. So I looked it up, and they refreshed that poll this year. They found that people under the age of 29 view communism, 34% view it favorably, which I feel is shocking. I talked to my daughter about it, and she was like, yeah, we've never learned anything about this in school. And as a kid from the 80s, I'm just shocked by that because communism worldwide, that ideology has led to over 100 million deaths worldwide. And I just found it shocking that we learned so much almost on a daily basis about the race-based genocides of the Nazis, but we seem to forget the class-based genocides of the Soviets and the CCP and other communist regimes around the world. So what this bill does is a commemorative day to recognize November 7th as Victims of Communism Day, and we would join, those right-wing states like California that have already passed this legislation, as well as our neighboring states of Virginia and Pennsylvania and South Carolina. And I so wish that I wish I had my witnesses here. We had a screw up for, I guess, when they were trying to sign up, because I think that people that have lived through that, those regimes that are now immigrated to America, their opinions, I think, matter a lot on the subject, and it's good to hear their warnings. So with that, Madam Chair, I'd be interested in answering any questions that you guys might have.
Sure. Delegate Fisher.
So,
my good friend from Calvert.
You're the other Delegate Morgan.
Yeah, we had one with shark teeth, and now communism. So it's kind of.
So, Delegate Morgan, how many, when you talk to young people, I'm just really curious about this because I have done this in Calvert, but in St. Mary's, are the children, generally speaking, like in K to 12, are they even familiar with what the communist ideology really was in the 20th century, at least?
I don't think so. When I speak to younger people, and look, we've done a lot of that, both you and I, with the Turning Point chapters that are opening up. It seems like some of the curriculum gets, they spend a lot of time in history class on Mesopotamian, but not a lot on the recent history of the 20th century. So you look at some of the genocides committed, some of the worst genocides in human history has been committed in the last 100 years. And it's surrounded this ideology. And I think it would be wise that people at least learn about it and respect the victims of it.
So they don't know that under Mao and Stalin, as an example, and their satellite states, that upwards of 100 million people were murdered all in the name of communism.
Well, I'll give you another statistic, Delegate, that I thought was just unbelievable when I read it. And she was going to testify with me today. And like I said, we had a little screw up. She put some written testimony in, and her name's She Van Fleet. And she wrote a best-selling book called Miles America. And there's one passage in there that really sticks out to me, because in the General Assembly, we seem to do a lot of regulations on landlords. Well, in 1965, the CCP executed 10,000 landlords. And most of the time, people don't hear stories like that. 1965 wasn't that long ago. So we should take a look at what has happened and learn from history as much as we possibly can.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, seeing no more questions from the committee, thank you, Delegate.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
We do have one person here favorable with amendments, Ken Phelps Jr., are listed, I should say, for testimony. All right, I do not see that they are in the room with us, so that will conclude our bill hearing for HB 751. I'll go back to Delegate Patterson for HB 458. I don't see Delegate Bhandari for HB 1327. We'll move next to Delegate Moreno, HB 620. Don't know if Delegate Moreno's with us or their staff. All right, Delegate Wolick or Solomon for HB 661. Is Delegate Hill with us? Okay, we're gonna take one moment because we need to get folks in the room with us, so people can just bear with Delegate Moreno. I know you just walked in.
It was a full room.
It's okay, it's all right, all good.
We were just hanging outside.
HB 620. can begin.
You're ready?
We're ready.
Good afternoon, Chair Wells, Vice Chair Kerr, and members of the Government, Labor, and Elections Committee. For the record, I am Delegate Gabriel Moreno, and I'm here to ask for favorable report on House Bill 620, Commemorative Months, Maryland Climate Education Month. After experiencing last week's dramatic swing in weather, 75 degrees and sunny, followed by snow, and then 50 degrees and sunshine, it is increasingly clear that the impacts of climate change are already being felt around us. However, erratic weather is not the only challenge we face. We are currently witnessing a sweeping reversal of U.S. climate policy at the federal level. Over the last year, environmental protections have been dismantled, restrictions on drilling in sensitive areas like the Arctic have been lifted, and billions in funding for clean energy projects have been blocked. Perhaps the most alarming is the targeting of climate science infrastructure itself. Thousands of federal workers involved in environmental monitoring have been dismissed, and key public climate data platforms have been shut down. When the Environmental Protection Agency stops accounting for public health benefits in its regulations, and when federal leadership revives coal mining even as it declines globally, the burden of truth falls to the states. We are in a climate emergency. We know that for decades, the fossil fuel industry knew the science, denied the risks, and sabotaged actions while raking in billions in profits. Now the federal research is being slashed. Maryland must ensure our citizens have the access to the facts. In 2024, Delegate Dana Stein proposed HB 993, a bill to proclaim the first week of April as Climate Education Week. The legislation would encourage participation across all ages in activities and programs that support the state's climate goals recommended by the Maryland Climate Commission. House Bill 620 carries the same objective as the former bill, but it expands to Climate Education Month. A dedicated month for climate education gives educators and community members additional time to celebrate and learn about the efforts that Maryland has taken towards protecting our environment and fighting climate change. I'll note that the previous bill stalled in the Senate over concerns that General Assembly would still be in session during the first week of April, and thus would not have an opportunity to help serve the planet. This new version resolves those issues while having the time also in alignment with Earth Day. Similar legislation has been passed in other states regarding climate education recognition months, including the New Jersey Department of Education, which created Action for Earth, a several-week April program that helps foster environmental stewardship in schools and communities. Also, Hawaii's university system has a climate education month in October, and Hawaiian public schools have specifically adopted Climate Week to promote sustainability. Passing this legislation would fill a key recommendation from the Maryland Climate Commission, which you will hear more about from my panelists momentarily. The bill's enactment would tell our constituents where this body and our government stands. We stand for caring for our climate, protecting the planet, and ensuring that despite federal roadblocks, our next generation is empowered with knowledge to lead. For these reasons, I urge the committee to issue a favorable report. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, I'm Kim Coble, Executive Director of the Maryland League of Conservation Voters. I serve as co-chair of the Maryland Commission on Climate Change, and I'm joined by my colleague Jabari Walker, who co-chairs the Education, Communication, and Outreach Working Group. I'm here today to urge your favorable report on HB 620. The bill designates April as Maryland Climate Education Month. It's an important recommendation of the Commission and included in our 2025 annual report. As Maryland pursues the nation's most ambitious greenhouse gas reduction goals, the success of our climate pollution reduction plan relies on an informed and engaged public. In addition to helping address climate change, establishing this month would invest in three key critical reasons. One, public health and housing savings. Implementing our state climate plan is projected to yield $1.2 billion in public health benefits by 2031. Number two, Maryland ranks 5th in the nation for projected sea level rise costs, requiring an estimated $27.4 billion, and this bill would also help generate jobs and workforce development. We urge your favorable report.
Thank you so much to the bill sponsor and to your sponsor panel. Is this your first bill in our committee, Delegate?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Yeah. Glad to visit the hardest working committee.
That's right.
Leaving judiciary.
Do anything you can to get the bill moved out favorably. I understand. But seeing, Delegate Fisher.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. So to the League of Conservation Voters, the last time that you came before ECM when they were dealing with utility stuff, you folks did not support nuclear energy as clean energy, and I'm just curious, is that something that's changed now?
Yeah, our position is to support existing nuclear energy as a clean energy source.
How about new nukes, you know?
Yeah, we're open to doing the research and investigation to see if those non-carbon producing sources of energy will be productive for Maryland. So the door's open.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Seeing no further questions on the bill on HB 620, that concludes the bill hearing for HB 620. We'll move next to HB 661, Delegate Wolick and Solomon. And I have Abigail Snyder and Mona Kishore as being part of your sponsor panel.
Okay. Sorry, I was in the back. Jake's fault. Get started. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Good afternoon, Chair Wells, Vice Chair Kerr, and esteemed members of the Government, Labor, and Elections Committee. For the record, I am Delegate Sarah Wolick of District 16, along with Delegate Solomon of District 18, here to present House Bill 661, General Provisions, Commemorative Months, Muslim Heritage Month, and Jewish American Heritage Months. House Bill 661 will require the Governor of Maryland to declare January as Muslim American Heritage Month and May as Jewish American Heritage Month in the state of Maryland. Both Muslim and Jewish Americans have contributed significantly to Maryland's history, and this bill would encourage organizations across the state to recognize and celebrate these heritage months through relevant programs, ceremonies, and educational activities. It is probably not known to most Marylanders that the first Jewish Marylanders in historical record are David Ferreira and Jacob Lombroso, who came to this land in 1657 as a trader and a physician, respectively. Meanwhile, Avuba Soleiman Diallo is the earliest documented Muslim in Maryland, arriving in Annapolis in 1750 as an enslaved person and later forced to labor on a tobacco farm. Both communities have deep roots and history in our state, and their presence is essential to our state's identity. As neither group is a monolith, up to 12% of Jews in the area are people of color, not to mention Jews of North Africa and Middle Eastern descent. Muslim Marylanders are one of the most diverse groups, with 25% identifying as Black, 24% as white, 18% as Asian, and 18% as Arab. Jews and Muslims occupy every aspect of our state's society and have contributed to and excelled in a variety of fields, including the arts, sciences, politics, sports, entertainment, academia, and so on. Delegate Solomon and I believe that by highlighting their contributions, diversity, and history through respective heritage months, we can help dispel stereotypes and misconceptions and foster a more inclusive and tolerant society. The celebrations that will result from these heritage months will help bring people together of different backgrounds, strengthen community bonds, and promote unity. Highlighting the achievements of Jewish and Muslim Americans can inspire young people within the community to pursue their dreams and contribute positively to society. This bill was supported by the House last year, it passed. I would urge a favorable report once more. This year, we have support in the Senate with a cross-file in Senator Hedelman, and again, I urge a favorable report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and colleagues, and I will be brief. So this is really only actually the second time. The first time was last year when I did this when, as a co-sponsor, I testified. And the reason I did this is because Delegate Wolick and I made a very conscious decision last year to do this bill together. In addition to being a friend and district partner next door, we also decided to come together because we could have done two separate bills. We could have done a bill honoring Muslim American Heritage Month, and we could have done a bill honoring Jewish American Heritage Month. But we felt like, given especially the times that we're living in, doing this bill jointly and having it be an expression of unity and an expression of the communities working together, because there is so much more that we share in common than we have in difference, that it was really important that we send the signal that we're doing this together. And so I will not repeat what you heard from Delegate Wolek. She was spot on with everything, but would just, again, ask the committee to move favorably on this bill. Last year, it did pass the House unanimously, actually. I think it sends an incredibly strong signal to recognize two really important communities in our state. And this is one of the top priorities for the Maryland Legislative Jewish Caucus, and especially this year at the 200th anniversary of the Jew Bill, which allowed Jews to hold office in the state of Maryland. I think it sends an even stronger signal. So thank you. And again, would urge a favorable report.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mona Kishore, and I'm here as chair of the GVC Middle Eastern American Affairs Commission, which has representation of both Jewish Americans and Muslim Americans and the diverse ethnicities that compose the Middle East, over 15 of which are represented in GVC bylaws. We urge a favorable passing of House Bill 661, and to do so, we jointly combined our support with the South Asian American Affairs Commission to approve an official formal letter of support. So the Governor's Commission on Middle Eastern American Affairs and South Asian American Affairs, the commissions, stand in support of HB 661, designating January as Muslim American Heritage Month and May as Jewish American Heritage Month in Maryland. Recognizing Muslim and Jewish Heritage Months would be an important step towards fostering understanding and inclusion and celebrating Maryland's ethnic and religious diversity. The Muslim and Jewish communities in the state of Maryland are themselves racially and ethnically diverse. Similarly, Maryland's Middle Eastern American and South Asian American communities include individuals representing a variety of religious faiths. Muslim and Jewish individuals represent important segments of these communities. Passing 661 would be an important statement to welcome and acknowledge these diverse communities in our state. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Wells, Vice Chair Kerr, members of the committee. For the record, Abby Snyder, Director of Government Relations for the Baltimore Jewish Council, which represents the Associated Jewish Federation of Baltimore, all of its agencies, and the organized Jewish community of the greater Baltimore region. We are also here today in support of HB 661, and for all the reasons. I'm going to give you a me too, but I will just say, at a time when our communities are plagued with divisive rhetoric and hate speech, it's important that we use these opportunities to celebrate our differences and better understand our neighbors. By requiring the governor to annually proclaim these respective months, we're ensuring Maryland's commitment to this mission, and we urge a favorable report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the bill sponsors and to your witnesses. On your panel, we have a question from Delegate Fisher.
I see a pattern.
I don't see it at all, actually.
So I'm reading the bill, commemorative months, Muslim American Heritage and Jewish American Heritage months. Why not Christian? Why not include the Christians as well?
I'm here to support this bill. I'm not going to opine on another month. Thank you.
You're not going to opine on another month. Okay. So I'm asking because my doctor, who's a dermatologist, grew up next to me. He was 12 years old when I moved to Calvert County. And his family is Palestinian, and they're devout Christian, and they were pushed out of their homeland because of the fact that they were Christian. And they were pushed out by Muslims. And I'm just curious, if the goal is to build bridges, why create a bridge that doesn't include everybody?
I mean, again, Delegate, I think if you would bring that bill forward, our esteemed committee would be happy to consider it. This was the community, these are the two communities that we represent, in addition to Delegate Wolek. The Muslim caucus has now officially formed, so this is the choice that we made to represent these two communities, but I think our committee would be more than happy to consider all types of recognitions.
And my last question is, there's a bill this session that deals with boycott, divest, and sanction. Is that something that both of you would both groups that are here today would diametrically be against, very much be against?
So again, I'm here to represent House Bill 661. I'm happy to answer further questions on that bill. I'm not familiar with the bill that you're referring to, so I'm going to, again,
Got it.
speak to this particular legislation that is in front of you for consideration.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Seeing no further questions from the committee, we will move on to, we have one additional individual here, Gregory Yancey. Hello,
Thank
how
you.
are you?
Greetings, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Gregory Yancey. I am Chief of Staff for the Governor's Office of Community Initiatives, where we have the proud privilege and honor to house the Maryland Commission the Governor's Commission on Middle Eastern Affairs as well as Southeast Asian Affairs. To the Muslim community, I say Assalamu alaikum. To the Jewish community, I say Shalom. And to my other fellow Marylanders, I say peace be unto you. And in addition to just wishing peace unto you, we have a bill that helps implement peace and build community. 7 states already recognize Muslim American Heritage Month. 37 states already recognize Jewish American Heritage Month. Our commission has voted unanimously for us to do this. The messaging is clear when we see acts of hatred and bias. The messaging is clear saying that Jewish Americans and Muslim Americans are not welcome. This message says the opposite, that you are welcomed and that you are celebrated. Our governor says hate has no home in Maryland. This bill helps serve as an eviction notice. This helps to open doors for mutual understanding, educational programs, and people to come together and to celebrate. This impacts generations yet to come. So for these reasons, I ask favorably for a report on HB 661.
Thank you very much for your testimony, Mr. Yancey. Delegate Fisher.
Sorry, you're head of the governor's what commission or which?
Oh, I am Chief of Staff for the Governor's Office of Community Initiatives. Okay. And we house the ethnic commissions, among other.
Okay. Okay. I thank you for that clarification. So would you accept an amendment that include Christian Americans as well?
Well, I wouldn't be opposed to it at all. Okay. But I will say that to your question before, this is for those who are suffering right now. The acts of hatred and bias that we see that are occurring in our Jewish community and our Muslim community. The same analogy has been put forth about like my neighbor's house might be on fire. We bring water where the fire is. And so this is why we need this, and we have to move forward on this.
So it sounds like you're not against that idea.
No, me personally, no.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Seeing no further questions, that concludes our bill hearing on HB 661. We will go back to Delegate Patterson, HB 458. And just wondering if Delegate Bandari's staff is in the room. If you are, could you raise your hand? Okay, all right. I'll call you after Delegate Patterson.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Chair. Sorry for my delay. Good afternoon, Chair Wells, Vice Chair Kerr, and members of the Government, Labor, and Elections Committee. For the record, I'm Delegate Edith Patterson, sponsor of House Bill 458, Commemorative Months, Water Safety Month. This legislation was inspired by the tragic death of a 5-year-old boy from Charles County. He was autistic and nonverbal and drowned after leaving a supervised area. After meeting with his parents and members of the autism community in Charles County and across Maryland, a devastating reality became clear. Drowning is a leading cause of death for children and adults with autism. Nearly half of children with autism are at risk of wandering away from safe environments. This behavior, known as elopement, is often paired with an attraction to water and an inability to recognize dangers. The result is an alarming number of preventable tragedies. Last year, this assembly took an important step by passing and enacting ACE's law. This is a bill I sponsored and was really moved by the testimony of his mother, Brittany Blitzo, who was ACE's mom. This law requires a school to notify parents when a student elopes from a school setting. This legislation acknowledges the real and immediate risk faced by children with autism and the need for timely communication and prevention. Designating May as Water Safety Month builds on that work by expanding awareness beyond schools and communities. May is nationally recognized as Water Safety Month. This bill requires the governor to proclaim May as Water Safety Month in Maryland with a focus on saving lives through drowning, prevention, education, and safe swimming practices. Communities will be encouraged to build and create activities in the month of May that will spread awareness about the fundamental importance of teaching children how to swim while also encouraging water safety. Incidents like the one that occurred in Charles County are preventable when families and communities have better information, tools, and most importantly, awareness. For these reasons, I respectfully ask for a favorable report of House Bill 458. And I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that we have communication and support from the Autism Coalition and from individuals who are also proponents of this legislation. Thank you for considering my request, and thank you for modifying my time.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Delegate Patterson, for the bill. And just seeing if we have any questions. Seeing no questions from the committee, this concludes our bill hearing on HB 458. Thank you very much, Delegate Patterson. We will move next to Delegate Harry Mandari, HB 1327. His staff is here to present with him today. And I believe, it's just you by yourself? Okay. Yes, you may begin.
Thank you, committee. This is Sadiksha Bosnich, Chief of Staff for Delegate Harry Bhandari. On behalf of Delegate Harry Bhandari, for Key Bridge Heroes Commemoration Day and Memorial Tribute Ceremony, HB 1327. Chair Wells, Vice Chair Kerr, and members of Government Labor and Elections Committee. The collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge on March 26, 2024, claimed the lives of 6 hardworking individuals and shook the state of Maryland. Before I begin, I ask that we take a moment to remember them. Dorlian Ronial Castillo Cabrera, Alejandro Hernandez Fuentes, Miguel Angel Luna Gonzalez, Carlos Daniel Hernandez, Jose Minor Lopez, and Minor Yasser Suazo Sandoval. Tragedy struck suddenly, taking the lives of dedicated workers who were working through the night to keep us safe. They were parents, siblings, and friends. They had dreams and hopes, and their lives ended while serving others. That night, the bridge, something so many of us have crossed countless times, became more than just a structure. It became a symbol of loss, sacrifice, and the responsibility we share as a state. The inspiration for this bill comes from the moment after the tragedy, standing with grieving families, seeing our communities come together, and recognizing that the lives must be remembered not just today, but every year. HB 1327 ensures that we never forget. This bill establishes March 26 as the Key Bridge Heroes Commemoration Day, creating a lasting moment for Marylanders to pause, reflect, and honor the lives lost. It also requires an official state ceremony in Annapolis to recognize the victims and their families, ensuring that the remembrance is not only personal but institutional and enduring. Importantly, this bill also recognizes a deeper truth. Many of these workers were immigrants performing difficult, high-risk work that is essential to our infrastructure and economy. Their contributions often go unseen, but they are vital to the safety and functioning of our state. This legislation ensures that we see them, we honor them, and we remember them every year. As we continue rebuilding the Key Bridge and moving forward as a state, this commemoration will stand as a symbol of respect, dignity, and collective memory. I respectfully urge a favorable report on HB 1327. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Wells and Vice Chair Kerr. My name is Irvin Gonzalez, and I'm the Deputy Director of Central Maryland for We Are CASA, and I'm here to support HB 1327. We Are CASA is a national organization building power and improving the quality of life for working class, Black, Latina, Afro-descendant, Indigenous, and immigrant communities. We also provided vital services to the impacted families of the Francis Scott Bridge collapse. As we know, early in the morning of March 26, 2024, 8 men went to work and 6 men did not come back home. Their names deserve to be spoken aloud and commemorated by Maryland for their service to the state. Dorlean Roniel Castillo Cabrera, 26 of Dundalk from Guatemala. Alejandro Hernandez Fuentes, 35 of Baltimore from Mexico. Carlos Daniel Hernandez Estrella, 24 from Mexico. Jose Minor Lopez, 35 from Guatemala. And Minor Yacir Suazo Sandoval, 38 from Honduras. And Miguel Angel Luna Gonzalez, 49 of Glen Burnie. As the state continues to rebuild and families fight for justice, we need to ensure that their sacrifices will not be forgotten, and we continue to remember these families for years to come during this time. And we thank you for your support, and CASA urges a favorable report on HB 1327.
Thank you. Do we have questions for the sponsor panel? Seeing none, thank you very much for your testimony. That concludes House Bill 1327. We'll now move on to House Bill 588. Delegate Hill.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Terry Hill, and I'm here. I represent Howard County, District 12A, and I'm here to represent House Bill 588, Missing and Murdered American Indian and Alaskan Native Women and Girls Day of Awareness Reporting Requirement. So just a couple statistics. More than 4 in 5 American Indian and Alaskan Native women have experienced violence, which is more than 10 times the national average, and more than 1 in 2 have experienced sexual violence. American Indian Alaska Native women, also sometimes referred to as Indigenous women and girls, experience violence perpetuated by, most commonly, non-American Indian and non-Alaska Native individuals, which contrasts with other groups where the majority of violence is committed against members of the same race and by members of the same race. The data available from official resources is widely considered to be undercounted due to known issues with data collection, racial misidentification, and jurisdictional complexities. The 2020 census counts approximately 2% of Maryland's population, or over 120,000 individuals, as identifying here in Maryland as American Indian and Alaska Native. So this is not a small group. In the state, when we asked the state police for data on the number of missing women and girls who identify as Alaska Native or American Indian, we got this 2024 hate bias report. Hate bias reports do not tell us about the women who are missing and murdered. This bill, House Bill 588, has the support of the Legislative Black Caucus, the Legislative Latino Caucus, the Women Legislators of Maryland. And what it does is it has us stand in solidarity with communities throughout the United States and North America in standing up to say that this violence is not acceptable, and it calls on us to recognize, do accurate data collection, do better interagency coordination, and to raise awareness. It does not create a new criminal offense. It does not create penalties. It expresses solidarity with the victims, the survivors, the families of the victims, and the affected Indigenous communities, and I encourage law enforcement to do a better job It requires the governor to formally recognize May 5th as National Day of Awareness for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls in Maryland. Thank you.
Vice Chair Kerr and members of the committee, on behalf of the Maryland Commission on Indian Affairs, I'm submitting this testimony in strong support of House Bill 588. This vital piece of legislation requires the governor to annually proclaim May 5th as Missing and Murdered American Indian and Alaska Native Women and Girls Awareness Day and mandates reporting of specific critical data to the General Assembly. Violence against Indigenous and Native American women and girls has historically been overlooked and underreported. Establishing an official day of awareness is not merely symbolic, it is a mandate for the state of Maryland to acknowledge this crisis. Currently, data collection regarding Native Americans in Maryland lacks the specificity required to solve systematic safety issues. House Bill 588 addresses this head-on, requiring official reporting of findings to the General Assembly. By requiring the Department of State Police to report specific data, this bill creates a framework for accountability. We must ensure that the individuals who have been taken from us are not silenced, but rather serve as a catalyst for meaningful policy change, enhance the law enforcement coordination. The Maryland Commission on Indian Affairs is grateful to Delegate Hill for sponsoring this legislation. It is time to ensure that our sisters, daughters, and mothers are protected. I appreciate the time and opportunity to present today.
Thank you. Can you state your name for the record?
Yes. Chair Bradshaw was not able to be here. I'm seeing circumstances. I serve as the Administrative Director for the Maryland Commission on Indian Affairs, E. Keith Colston.
Thank you.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and she can go next. Go ahead. Okay.
Greetings, Vice Chair Kerr and honorable members of the committee. My name is Gregory Yancey. I serve as Chief of Staff for the Governor's Office of Community Initiatives. Again, we are proud to host the Maryland Commission on Indian Affairs among our ethnic commissions. HB 588 shouts a call for awareness, action, and humanity. In 2013, Hannah Harris, a Northern Cheyenne tribal member, was murdered in Lame Deer, Montana. According to some reports, the concerns of Hannah's families were downplayed, and her body was later discovered severely decomposed. So May 5th became the day in honor of her birthday. Since 2017, there's been a National Day of Awareness for MMIW in currently 5 states. Minnesota, Montana, North Carolina, and South Carolina recognize MMW. The statistics are limited yet alarming. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, nearly half of all Indigenous women experience some form of domestic violence. 4 out of 5 experience some sort of violence, period. And the murder rate is 10 times the national average. We strongly request that you will issue a report in favor of HB 588 and support our Indigenous community.
Good afternoon. My name is Erica Chavarria, and I'm the Executive Director of Columbia Community Care in Howard County, but I'm speaking as an individual in strong support of HB 588. I want to be transparent. I am not Native myself, but I grew up in New Mexico, where the crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous women is not an abstraction. It is a reality woven into daily life. I have close personal friends who are Native women who have been directly affected by this violence. When we talk about these statistics, I see their faces. You may wonder why Native American women go missing and murdered at these rates. Anita Lucchesi, a doctoral researcher and descendant of the Southern Cheyenne people, puts it plainly. There is no single reason, but the unifying factor is colonialism. Colonialism teaches people to undervalue Native women, to see them as less than human, as exotic, as easy to use and abuse. That dehumanization has never fully been dismantled, and Native American women continue to pay the price for it. And when families try to get help, they often hit a wall. A commonality reported by families of the missing and murdered is that law enforcement is not helpful, especially in those critical first 48 hours when it matters most. Families are not heard, communication breaks down, and women slip further from reach. I urge a favorable report on House Bill 588. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Do we have questions for the sponsor or her panel? I don't see any. Delegate Hill, thank you today for bringing this bill. That will conclude the bill hearing on House Bill 588. The next bill I will call is House Bill 1103. Delegate Mangione.
Mr. Chair, good afternoon. Would it be all right if I yield my 3 minutes to John here? He came from Richmond, so I'm going to give up my time, and if he can yield his 1 minute to Chuck.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. So John, you'll start.
Good afternoon.
Chair and committee members, my name's John Riley. I'm the president of the 9/11 Freedom Flag Foundation, supporting House Bill 1103 to see the Freedom Flag become Maryland's official symbol of remembrance for 9/11, a day that happened nearly 25 years ago, a day we promised to never forget, and a day on which we lost over 80 Marylanders. The flag to my right is the Freedom Flag, designed on a napkin by a Richmonder, where I'm from, as an idea to remember and commemorate 9/11, and that spread throughout the Richmond and across Virginia area into schools, into fire stations, just basically on its own in the weeks and months after 9/11. Its meaning, the 4 red stripes represent the lives lost on the 4 hijacked aircraft at the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and in Shanksville. The 3 white stripes honoring over 400 first responders, fire, police, and rescue, who made the ultimate sacrifice on 9/11. The 5 white bars symbolically represent the Pentagon and the organized protection of our freedoms, the 5 branches of our military. The white star for our military and all who've lived and died for freedom. And lastly, the blue background, which today, in a day that seems more divided than ever in my lifetime, the blue represents all Americans united for freedom, how we felt on 9/12. The flag was adopted with overwhelming bipartisan support in Virginia in 2018, in Delaware and Oklahoma in 2022, and even as far away as California last year on 9/11. This flag started as just a sketch, and it evolved into such a movement that the creator decided to make it a national symbol of remembrance for 9/11. It's been flown in all 50 states, and we'd love to see Maryland become the 5th to adopt it, especially given the presence of the Pentagon nearby and the loss of life. My personal connection, I lost one of my best friends on 9/11. I got one of the worst phone calls of my life that my friend was trapped at the top of Tower 1, Doug Ketchum. And I wear the arm bracelet that his mother gave me. 10,000 Americans are born every day, and about 25% of our population in the country, including Maryland, is post 9/11. So the day we promise to never forget, they need to learn and be taught. So this flag serves both as a remembrance tool and as a symbol to teach simply the next generation. If you know the word vexillology, it's the study of flags. And this flag adheres to the basic principles of good flag design as ascribed by the the North American Vexillological Association. It's simple. It's all symbols, 3 colors, no words. And we think that's in part one reason why it's been accepted so broadly. So we appreciate your favorable report today, this year, the 25th anniversary of 9/11 of House Bill 1103.
Good afternoon, committee. Thank you for allowing us to be here today to offer our support for House Bill 1103. My name is Chuck Ritz, founder of the Hope and Peace Foundation here in Maryland. Our mission closely reflects that of the Freedom Flag Foundation to preserve our past, educate our future, and ensure that we never forget September 11th. Following the terrorist attacks nearly 25 years ago on 9/11, it was confirmed that 69 Marylanders were killed that horrific day. Through research and outreach, we have since confirmed an additional 16 victims were either born in Maryland, raised here, or lived here at the time of their deaths, bringing the total number of Marylanders lost on September 11th to 85. The Freedom Flag not only honors those lost on September 11th, but also remember those who served during the 20-year conflict against terrorism. It honors the 177 Maryland sons and daughters who paid the ultimate price for justice and our freedom. Their sacrifice is forever represented in this flag of remembrance. As Todd Beamer on Flight 93 rally called, "Let's roll," perhaps it's time for Maryland to answer the same call, and let's roll by adopting the Freedom Flag as the Maryland's official flag of remembrance for September 11th. Thank you. Thank you. We'll now hear from the virtual witness, Mr. Singleton.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, and thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Clarence Singleton. I'm a retired New York City fire lieutenant, and I've been on the board of directors for the Freedom Flag Foundation since 2018. I've also served as a combat Marine in Vietnam, where I was wounded 5 times. I came here today because remembrance matters. I responded to the bombing of the World Trade Center in 1993 and also on September 11 after retiring. Like many responders, I was seriously injured and today live with several medical conditions connected to that day. My wife and I visit schools and communities speaking with young people about that day. And the Freedom Flag helps start important conversations about sacrifice and patriotism. Several states have adopted the Freedom Flag as their flag of remembrance for September 11, and I respectfully ask Maryland to join them because the Freedom Flag is more than a flag. It's a promise to all who perish on September 11 that we will never forget them. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
And thank you. Do we have questions for Delegate Mangione or his panel? Seeing none, thank you, Delegate Mangione.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
That concludes the bill hearing on House Bill 1103. Is Delegate Watson here or someone? Oh, thank you. Delegate Watson, we'll call your bill next. House Bill 770.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Chair Wells and Vice Chair Kerr, and members of the committee. For the record, I am Delegate Courtney Watson, here to present House Bill 770. I am seeking your support in acknowledging the valuable contributions of Korean Americans by designated January 13th as Korean American Day each year. The date holds particular significance as it marks the arrival of pioneering Korean immigrants to the United States on January 13th, 123 years ago in 1903. The House wisely passed this bill in 2024 under former committee chair Pena Melnick. Unfortunately, it did not make it through the Senate, although we hear that the Senate is favorable this year, and we urge your passage. The Baltimore-Washington metropolitan area is home to the 3rd largest Korean American population in the nation, with over 65,000 individuals of Korean descent residing in Maryland alone. My district in 9B in Ellicott City is home to the wildly successful economic development initiative Koreatown, located on Route 40, a 5-mile section named by the state of Maryland as Korean Way in 2021. Korean Way is home to more than 170 Korean businesses. I kindly ask for your consideration and support of HB 770, which aligns with our commitment to recognize and celebrate Maryland's robust and vibrant Korean American community. I ask the supporters of this bill who are here in the audience to please stand and be acknowledged, and thank you for your presence. And now I'm turning over testimony to my panel of distinguished Korean American residents of Maryland who will introduce themselves, and thank you for your consideration, and I urge a favorable report on this bill.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of this committee. My name is Young Smith, President of the League of Korean Americans of Maryland, representing Korean American communities and business owners across our state. I'm here to support HB 0770, establishing January 13th as Korean American Day in Maryland. Today, Korean Americans are an active and growing part of Maryland's diverse communities. Across our state, Korean Americans contribute as business owners, healthcare professionals, educators, engineers, and community leaders. In Howard County especially, we are proud to have one of the most vibrant Korean American communities in the region, Koreatown. In Ellicott City has become an important cultural economic hub where Korean-owned businesses serve residents from across Maryland and strengthen the local economy. Montgomery County is also home to a large and thriving Korean American population with a strong community organizations, churches, and business contributing greatly to achieve this. This bill has no fiscal impact, yet it carries meaningful symbolic value. Recognizing Korean Americans Day reminds us that the story of Korean American is also part of the story of Maryland. I ask you for favorable support for HB 0770. Thank you for your time and considerations.
Honorable members of Maryland House delegates, good afternoon. I am Dr. Hyun Lily Hoy. I'm honored to have this opportunity to testify before you today in support of House Bill HB 0770 to designate January 13th as Korean American Day in Maryland. I immigrated to the United States in 1968 after finishing high school in Seoul, South Korea. In Hartford, Connecticut, I worked 2 jobs and went to night school in order to graduate from the University of Hartford. In 1978, I received my doctoral degree in immunology from Wayne State Medical School in Detroit, Michigan. And with my husband and young daughter, I then moved to Maryland in 1981 and has been served as a career scientist at the United States Department of Agriculture in Beltsville. All my career, I have devoted my career to discovering new and improved methods for promoting the health and development of a new method to control poultry diseases and contribute to the commercial poultry operation in the Eastern Shore. In 2014, I received the Presidential Rank Award from President Barack Obama, and the following year, I received the Samuel J. Heyman Service to America Medal, the preeminent award program for Korea U.S. federal employees. I retired from a 46-year
I'm going to have to
career
ask you to
of
conclude your
federal
testimony.
service on January. You need to sign up. Okay, so I'm asking you to designate January 13th as Korean American Day, which will send a message to anyone in the United States as well as in Korea who's want to have a life in America, and that Maryland will accept them into their state with open arms. In conclusion, I strongly support passage of House Bill HB 0770, and thank you for your time in listening to my testimony today.
Honorable delegates, my name is David Kim, and I'm sincerely grateful to respectfully testify today in strong support of the bill HB 0770 to designate January 13th as the Korean American Day in Maryland. I stand before you as a proud 1.5 generation Korean American born in Seoul but raised in the U.S. My story begins in the early 1980s when my dad arrived in New York City with 2 suitcases, $500, and an unbreakable belief in the American dream. He didn't speak English, and he had no family. But he surely had the fierce determination to give his family what they never had before. My dad worked double shift, 7 days a week. He sacrificed his life so my sister and I could focus on books instead of bills. Study hard, he would say. This country gave us a chance, now make it proud. Well, that lesson took root. I earned my engineering degree, and today I serve as an engineering manager at a major defense contractor company. Every single day, I lead teams designing and building the systems that protect our troops, our allies, and the very freedoms that my dad crossed an ocean to embrace. Over 65,000 Korean Americans living and thriving right here in Maryland have written similar stories. Families who turned corner stores into community anchors, students who became doctors and engineers. So I respectfully urge you to pass this bill. Let Maryland lead by example in celebrating the full American story. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless the great state of Maryland.
Thank you. Let's go to Delegate Fisher.
Thank you. Just real quickly, a comment. In a previous life in another business, I was working with a Korean gentleman. This is probably 30 years ago. And he took me around into the suburbs of Washington, D.C. And what I learned was, and this is a huge compliment, what I learned is how the Korean community helps one another with loans. And it's a system that he educated me about, and I thought it was terrific. So I just thought huge kudos to that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions for Delegate Watson and her sponsor panel? Seeing none, thank you, Delegate Watson.
you.
We do have an additional favorable witness, Joshua Kim.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair and members of this committee. My name is Joshua Kim. I'm a proud Korean American and a student at the Gilman School. Korean American Day, to me, is more than a date on the calendar. It's a reminder of family, resilience, and connection. My grandparents came to America with little more than hope and determination. They opened a small restaurant in Baltimore City through hard work and sacrifice to secure a better life for their children and future generations. Theirs is among so many Korean Americans who face struggles, language barriers, and racism, but did not lose their way. Because of them, I have opportunities they never had. That's why I believe so strongly that Korean American Day needs to be a legislative bill signed into law by the Maryland General Assembly. Passing Korean American Day as a piece of legislation would ensure that future generations continue to celebrate and be educated about the Korean American story, the hardships, triumphs, and tradition that have contributed to America's history. It's a chance to give my grandparents' sacrifices and the histories of millions such as theirs the honor they are due. Korean American Day is not only a holiday for Korean Americans, it's a holiday for the unity of America, making this country a better place each day. Thank you.
And thank you. Any questions for Mr. Kim? Before I conclude testimony on this bill, for all of you who came to support this bill, I just want to let you know that we understand the sacrifice that you make to drive to Annapolis, to find some place to park, and to wait here for hours just to testify for a minute. Your presence here says as much as your testimony. And thank you all for coming today. That will conclude the testimony on House Bill 770. The next bill is House Bill 825. Is Delegate Woods here? Is anyone here to present Delegate Woods' bill? If not, is Delegate Allen here? Okay, we'll go ahead to Delegate Allen's bill. This is House Bill 173.
Come on up. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Am I good to start, Mr. Chair? I know we're pressed for time. All right, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Delegate Stewart, it's great to be here today. For the record, I'm Delegate Nick Allen. I'm here to talk about my bill, House Bill 173, which would designate the Natural History Society of Maryland, located in where else, District 8, as the official state natural history museum. I'll let the rest of my panel kind of tell the story and tell about how awesome this place is. If you haven't been there, I highly recommend it. I know a number of you, including yourself, Mr. Chair, visited as a site visit in the last, I think it was in the fall, with the dearly departed Health and Government Operations Committee. The now speaker attended as well, and it really is a great place. So Maryland is one of the very few states in the country that does not have its own natural history museum. And I think we deserve one. So again, I will leave it to the rest of my panel, but I'll also note before I go to the cross-file for this bill, I forget the Senate number, but it's cross-filed with my senator, Senator Carl Jackson, and that bill is on the EEE voting list today. So I just want to throw that out there. But thank you, Mr. Chair, and I respectfully request a favorable report.
Thank you, Delegate. So any of your panelists who's ready can go ahead.
Thank you, Vice Chair Kerr. My name is David Pittenger. I'm a trustee of the Natural History Society of Maryland and the retired executive director of the aquarium. I'd like to make two brief points in support of this designation. First, the Natural History Society of Maryland is a catalyst for economic development. We have been cited in numerous studies as a linchpin of our community's revitalization, a role recently recognized by the Chesapeake Gateway Chamber with a 2026 Revitalization Award. Second, our educational mission is deeply personal to me. Growing up in Philadelphia, the Natural History Museum there was my second home. Experiences there led me to a career in natural sciences, and today you'll hear from a young man who has found that same passion through our organization. As a state natural sciences museum, the next generation of Maryland scientists will have a place to start their journey. Thank you, and I urge a favorable report on HB 173.
Good afternoon. My name is Twig George. Thank you for letting us speak today. I'm here to support Bill 173 to name the Natural History Museum Society of Maryland as a state museum. What's in a name? For nearly 100 years, the Natural History Society of Maryland has served the scientific and educational community through dedication of volunteers, curators, and educators. During that time, the Society has protected scientific collections, published educational and scientific materials, led classes, field trips, and provided expertise at state and local government level. Our curators have always been leaders in their field, and I'm not going to go into all that right now because other people will cover that. But all of this has been done with the highest professional standards for nearly a century without formal state recognition. But times have changed. Because of our aging population, natural science collections are at risk as collectors retire or pass away. Many of the specimens are no longer found in Maryland, and some don't exist anymore. And so I hope that we can designate a state museum so we will have them in the future.
You must be Preston.
Yep. Want me to go?
Yes, please.
My name is Preston Moyne. I'm here to speak in favor of House Bill HB 0173. The NHSM is important to me for many reasons. 1 year ago, I got my first pet snake named Pizza from a person I met at a 3-day NHSM reptile class. In addition to the person I got Pizza from, there are many other great, friendly, educated people I've met who share my interest in wildlife. Because they share my interest in wildlife, they let share my interest in wildlife. Because they share my interest in reptiles, they allow me to hold many different animals. No other establishment in this area allows people, especially kids, to interact so closely with the animals. At the NHSM, I am seen and respected. It doesn't matter that I'm a kid. I've gotten involved in the NHSM in many ways. The first time I went there was with the homeschool group on a field trip. Then I became a member in return for the reptile class I first saw Pizza in. I go to herp club meetings where people take their animals, show them off, and show them off. I bring Pizza and tell people about her, answer questions about her, and let people hold her. I attend weekly Zoom sessions on a huge variety of topics that are led by experts in their fields. I just recently attended a behind-the-scenes tour of the Australia exhibit at the Baltimore Aquarium. And for Christmas, my mom bought me tons of minerals and fossils from the yearly sale. I even got a ruby and a big piece of emerald. I think the NHSM should be the official state natural history museum. Like I said, it is a great museum run by great people, but it's not recognized enough. If it becomes official, it will draw lots more people to visit, learn, and maybe even develop a passion. I want people to love, protect, and most importantly, respect wildlife. In just 1 year of being a member of this museum, I have learned so many things. I am grateful to the NHSM for teaching me and letting me interact with so many fascinating animals. That definitely would pass the time.
To the bills. These for questions, making sure. Delegate Sample Hughes.
Thank you. So Preston, I heard you say that you got your first pet snake. How many do you have?
Just one.
Oh, just the one, just Pizza. Okay, okay. I'm not fond of them. I was just checking to see how many you ended up getting. Okay, but thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much, Delegate Schindler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Preston, I had a question for you. Why did you name your snake Pizza?
Well, because when I was in the reptile class, we went on a lunch break, and it was for my birthday, and we were getting me a ball python, and the guy that was sitting in front of us in the class had recently hatched out ball pythons. And so I asked him to bring one over the next day, and I held it for a little while, and it kept trying to get up onto the table. And when I finally let it, I went hungry for the pizza that we had gotten earlier. And so she tried to stick her head in the pizza box. And then she tried to climb all the way in. And so I named her Pizza.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Delegate Wu.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I think you're the coolest boy in the room. Thank you very much to come testify, and really enjoy your testimony. Thank you. At the same time, Madam Chair, can I recognize a few people from Howard County who come to testify to Bill HB 588? Can you stand up? Yeah.
Delegate, is that for another bill?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Okay, seeing no further questions from the committee, we will move on next to additional testimony. Thank you to the bill sponsors and the sponsor panel, Beck and Nick Sparrow.
Thank you, committee, for hearing us. My name is Nick Spiro. I'm a trustee at the board of at the Natural History Society of Maryland. Currently, we're cooperating with Baltimore County Public School System. Part of the curriculum for third graders is a study of fossils. We have provided 371 fossil kits to third grade classes in Baltimore County, which impacts greater than 8,000 students. We have also provided kits to Howard County, Carroll County, and the Archdiocese of Baltimore. In our opinion, these kits that the kids can feel is much more real than looking at virtual things. We provide a wide variety of programs at the Natural History Society. We impact people of all walks of life, and when they walk away from us, they have a very favorable introduction to many facets of the natural world. Thank you. We look forward to a favorable report.
Thank you, Madam Chair and delegates, for hearing us. My name is Tom Dembeck. I first joined the Natural History Society 57 years ago at the young age of 13. At that time, I had a conversation with a mentor. He casually asked me if he knew what kind of pine tree we were standing under, and I told him I thought it was a white pine. He goes, "You're right." He goes, "It's also called a Pinus strobus." I said, "Who's it? What's it?" And he explained to me that that was the Latin name for that tree, and that Latin was the international language of science, so that scientists around the world could understand each other. I was intrigued, I was amazed, I was captivated. I needed to know the name of every tree in my world. Years later, upon passing of this mentor, I reflected on his life and how it had impacted mine. And I knew that he had given me an inspirational gift, Pinus strobus, and the Natural History Society has offered me an opportunity to pass that gift on. I stand in support of Bill 173. Thank you today.
My name is Charles Davis, and thank you for letting us speak here today. I'm a past trustee, but I've been a volunteer at the Natural History Society for 40 years. I wanted to get right to the essence of how this designation will benefit us. We have a massive collection of natural history items, such as these butterflies that I show here. But how do we get these things? Often they come to us when someone who's had a hobby has died. And one of the things that keeps happening is that collections like these are going to landfills. And it's because the state of Maryland doesn't have a state natural history museum. And so people don't know where to direct these kind of things that have incredible values, both for science and education. We do programs in all 19 counties. And so this bill will give us some recognition so people can identify us as a place for collections to go that can later be used. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your testimony. We have a couple questions from the committee. Delegate Tomlinson.
I was quick this time. Kind of quick. Thank you, Madam Chair. I think you came, a gentleman on the end here who spoke last, I think you stopped by my office and spoke with my staff, and he was just texting me about what you had mentioned with, unfortunately, a lot of times these collections can end up just getting tossed in the trash. Other than passing this bill, I mean, what else could we do to make folks aware? I guess probably make either seniors aware that in their final years, maybe that there's an option out there to give their collections to museums like yourself, or maybe to the family members who are going through their belongings, their house after they pass away. Is there anything?
Well, our ears are always to the ground for these kind of collections, and many times we know they exist, but often we don't know. The people who are in charge of them, the estate or so, doesn't know that we exist. And so having a state designation allows us to speak more boldly as representing something good happening in the state. So some of it is just, it will give us additional credibility to be able to be the first one to ask rather than wait for someone else to say something. There are other collections around the state, and some are in universities and such that from time to time get abandoned when a professor changes, and all of a sudden the emphasis changes and that collection isn't needed, and they wonder where to go, and they get shuffled around all the time. Maryland has a history of this process, and so our collections are in Missouri and Chicago and New York and all other places because there isn't this central place to hold. And so, I mean, other things that can be done is working through other nature education organizations in particular, because many of those people are associated with them. But as I say, the designation alone will help us reach out that way.
Yeah, I think most seniors or the family members that are going through their belongings, I think they would prefer that a nice collection would end up in somewhere where they're somewhere like the places that you run rather than a landfill. I know that I always joke that my grandfather in his final probably 10 years of living, if you showed any interest in anything in his house, he was like, "You like that?" I was like, I don't know. You can take it." Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, most folks would prefer that it ends up in good hands. So thank you.
But I do offer, please, anyone that would like to come and visit and see what we're doing. We're located in Baltimore County, right at the Baltimore City line at Eastern Baltimore City on US 1. But please contact us.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you for the question, and thank you to the panel. See no further questions from the committee. This concludes our bill hearing on HB 173. We'll move next to Delegate Woods, HB 825. There she is. I see Delegate Woods. Okay. And on your sponsor panel, I have Ms. Latasha Ward and the Sheriff John Carr. Do we have a?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, members of the Lead Committee. I'm Delegate Jamila Woods. I am going to be having my legislative aide, Zipporah Sewell, testify on my behalf, and I'll be here to answer questions. I also have a panel consisting of Latasha Ward and Sheriff John Carr. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Wells, Vice Chair Kerr, and esteemed members of the Government, Labor, and Elections Committee. My name is Zipporah Sewell, and I am here today to request a favorable report on House Bill 825. This bill designates May as Brain Health and Chronic Headache Awareness Month, aligning Maryland with the National Brain Tumor Awareness Initiative, among other things. Members of the committee, I'd like to ask you to imagine something with me. Imagine you have a chronic headache that lasts for days on end. It's not just uncomfortable, it's consuming. You're nauseous, so your diet changes. Light and sound feel unbearable, so your work performance suffers. You're exhausted, frustrated, and you're scared. More than anything, you want answers. You want to know why you feel this way. You want to know what's happening inside your own body. Right now in Maryland, getting those answers is far harder than it should be. Most of the people who receive brain scans without jumping through hoops are athletes. But what about the rest of us? What about the parent who can't get out of bed because of migraines? The teacher who pushes through chronic headaches every day while trying to mold young minds? Or the person who feels something is wrong but can't get the imaging they need because insurance won't cover it until they've suffered long enough? If you had a brain tumor or any brain discomfort, you would want to know before it's too late. No one should have to wait until their life is in danger to receive diagnostic tools that could have provided clarity earlier. House Bill 825 helps us fix that. This bill requires that Maryland Department of Health to develop guidelines for incorporating risk-based brain health evaluations into routine physicals and wellness visits so that medically necessary brain health diagnostics are accessible and not a privilege. The bill also establishes the Maryland Brain Health Grant Fund, which supports nonprofits, healthcare providers, and other entities doing crucial work in brain health awareness, screening, prevention, and services. This bill is about shifting from reactive care to proactive care. It's about giving Maryland residents the ability to protect their own health before a crisis occurs. It's about raising awareness for brain tumors, chronic headaches, migraines, and traumatic brain injuries that too often go undiagnosed until the damage is irreversible. Our brain is one of the most complex and delicate organs we have. Shouldn't we do everything in our power to protect it? Marylanders know their bodies. They know when something feels off, and they deserve the right to request a brain scan and to get one without unnecessary barriers when their health and their peace of mind are on the line. For these reasons, I respectfully urge the committee to issue a favorable report on House Bill 825. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Hello, my name is Latasha Ward. I wanted to say greetings to the chair, the vice chair, and the members of this committee. My daughter, I'm a mother of a traumatic brain injury survivor. You know, everything that, what you all just heard, that was my situation. When my daughter started her menstrual at the age of 15, she would woofy, she wouldn't be functional. She would have these chronic headaches. I took her to Kaiser to see her medical doctor, and what they wanted to prescribe is birth control. My daughter wasn't sexually active. That happened for like 4 years, constantly going back with the same situation until I took my daughter to Anne Arundel Medical Center. The doctor said, hey, I was about to just give your daughter some medicine and send her home. She said, but after I looked in the back of her head, she had a tumor back there. She wasn't a neurologist, so she said, your daughter's not going home with you, but she'll be seen by a brain surgeon on Monday. That was June 25th. When I got there, they had to drill a hole in my daughter's head because she had so much pressure. The doctor didn't understand how was my daughter able to be a dancer, how was my daughter able to drive 6 hours home from Bennett College to Maryland. She didn't understand any of that because her tumor was on her cerebellum. That deals with your speech and your balance. My daughter, science, she was 19, the youngest person ever been inside of their critical unit. They wanted to try to send her to Baltimore to get some other type of treatment, but since I brought her there, I left her there. Her surgery took 15 hours. The doctor told me that I was on time, but I had no more time. My organization, Silent Foundation, we've had, this will be our 6th year bringing awareness, Go Gray in May. Every time we talk about it, somebody's going to get surgery, somebody have headaches. In our household, a lot of people say, take medicine, baby, lay down. A lot of people don't get back up. Some people, when they get back up, either they blind, some of them have aneurysms, like my uncle, he went to Kaiser, they gave him medicine, he ended up, as soon as he got on his steps, had an aneurysm. My sorority sister in 2023, it was December, the same thing in Southern Maryland, she had the one that killed her. You know, so it's about saving lives. It's about allowing people to get proper screening so that we can prevent those situations from happening. So that's all I'm asking you all is to support this bill. Let's save lives, because if your brain don't work, nothing works.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. I was before you just earlier with another bill, but I knew this bill was very important for me to stay. I am John Carr, Sheriff of Prince George's County, and I'm not here just as the sheriff. I'm here to actually speak on a personal matter in which my mother actually had a traumatic brain injury in which she fell. They believed it was just a concussion. That then turned into something completely else, something else. And that's the reason why I'm asking for a favorable report. As she went through her diagnosis of just a concussion, stay away from light, of course she'll have issues with speaking, it started to turn into something else. For us as the family, we started to understand and see that she was not, who she was before. She was unable to really speak, forgetting things. She had a lot of issues. This bill here would actually provide additional resources so that those individuals who have gone through or have a traumatic brain injury, that they'll get the resources that they need, that we're able to educate individuals, that we're able to provide those additional resources so that we'll take the next step, so that people don't have to wait and continue to go to the hospital to figure out exactly if this is something that, we'll do a scan or not do a scan. Education is key. So I'm asking you for a favorable report, not just from my position and what we see on the streets every day, but also just from a personal standpoint. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much to the bill sponsor and to all of those testifying and impacted by this. We do not have any questions from the committee. We do have additional witnesses here to testify, Taji Ward and Ty Ransom.
That's the one. That's the
Okay, hi, my name is Taji Ward. Thank you all for allowing me to present. I'm here to represent Bill 825. I am a traumatic brain injury survivor. As my mom mentioned, there are so many things that we face with the challenge of rehabilitation, inpatient, outpatient therapy, and the lack of resources and knowledge on the topic. Many are affected, and this bill will focus on preventative measures, testing that can be done to help save lives, and that's the purpose. So thank you all.
Good afternoon. My name is Tia Ransom. I'm the mother of Elijah Ford, who's right here, who suffered with traumatic brain injury at 2 from falling. The fall caused excessive bleeding, which caused him to be brain dead. He had several seizures and strokes that the doctor stopped counting. He went blind. The doctors ultimately told my daughter to medicate him and let him pass. As you see, that was not her wish nor God's. But what we have come to find out is he needed to learn how to walk. He needed rehabilitation. There was no surrounding counties, Montgomery, Anne Arundel, Prince George's, or Howard counties that actually have physical therapy that works towards kids that have traumatic brain injuries. We have to go to the District of Columbia as of right now. Teachers, educators are not educated with knowing what TBI is. So for him to have a productive adult life, we're now paying for tutoring to help. So this bill will help bring more awareness to our families and, sadly to say, other families that will come and prayerfully have more resources to help the children to become productive adults. Thank you.
Delegate Sample Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to try to turn this into a question, but I just need to say that this is so important. when I was in elementary school, a young man on Friday, he said, when we were getting off the school bus, he asked me to be his girlfriend. He had a headache that day. He never returned. Gregory Bailey, he died. We were in elementary school. The other reason I bring it up is because my mother, she's had 2 brain aneurysms. One when I was 5, and then the other I was like 1999. And the same symptoms, that same severe headache and vomiting and all of that. And I raised it up because just this past, or 2 weekends ago, a young lady, she had her daughter, she's 11, and she said, oh, she has a severe headache, she has a severe headache, and oh, we're just gonna give medicine. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's like a red flag. Like, that's not always the answer. I need you to dig a little deeper. I need you to understand that you might need to go to the hospital and get a CAT scan. So it just begs awareness is necessary, because you don't know. I mean, the age doesn't matter anymore, you know? It could be an older person, it could be a younger person. So the question, this is very important, wouldn't you say, Delegate Woods?
Yes, I would say, and
okay, thank you.
As many of you know, I lost my son. He started out as an infant. I started taking him to the doctors with concerns. It wasn't until he was 12 years old that they finally realized he had a brain tumor. The tumor had actually imploded. So they initially told me that he had a malignant brain tumor and there was nothing that could be done. We found out that he actually had a tumor that exploded. My son had been kicked out of 11 schools for behavioral challenges. I had begged for them to please check to see if there was something wrong. And instead, they wanted to give him psychotropic medication, put him in special programs. He was very intelligent, as you all know. I eventually lost him. But this bill is so important because we cannot, as you just said, bypass and not look into the deeper picture. There are far too many young people in general, I don't want to just say young people, but so far too many people in general who we don't dig deep enough when they complain of the headaches. My son had seizures, and even though they ruled them out to be epileptic, they never did the research, and it wasn't until that tumor exploded in his head. He lived with that from 3 months old. He lived, and I lived with being called a bad parent, everything you could think of because of his behaviors. But despite my request, because I didn't have a medical background, no one ever dug deep enough to see what exactly. I was fortunate to have him for 34 years, but he was still gone far too soon. So thank you. Yes, this is extremely important.
Thank you so much, Delegate Woods, for the bill. And just want to thank your panel, Ms. Ward, for coming in with today. I do know people who are living with traumatic brain injury, and you're a testament to the progress that can happen, but I think this bill is important for us to consider as well. And I want to thank Ms. Ransom. And as someone who is, my mother died from an aneurysm, so I got a little emotional, I had to step out, but we understand how important this bill is, and we are aware of the beautiful legacy of your son as well, Delegate Woods. Seeing no more questions from the committee, that concludes our bill hearing today on HB 825. Thank you all again for coming in. And we will move on now to HB 217, Delegate Stein. We have, on your panel, we have Mary Ellen Pease, Harrison Palmer, and Matt Stegman on your first panel. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, and committee members. For the record, Delegate Dana Stein about House Bill 217. But before I begin, I just want to give a shout out to the previous presenters. Like so many people know, have several friends who've been affected by brain tumors, by brain injuries, so realize how important an issue that is. But House Bill 217 would designate May as Maryland Native Plant Month, and in doing so, it would create an opportunity to educate Marylanders about all the benefits of native plants, their environmental, agricultural, and economic benefits, and the role that they play in our ecosystems. 3 years ago, we enacted legislation that created the state's native plant program, recognizing the environmental value of incorporating native plants into landscaping, conservation, and restoration efforts. Since then, the governor has also designated May as Native Plant Month through executive order, helping to raise awareness about the importance of native plants. And so this bill would build upon those efforts by establishing this recognition in statute. As you all probably know, native plants are uniquely adapted to our climate, our soils, and our wildlife. And because of this, they require less water, fewer chemical inputs, and less maintenance than non-native species. And for homeowners, municipalities, and land managers, that means reduced landscaping costs and more sustainable land management practices. And we're all probably familiar with situations where gardens or stretches of rights-of-way of roads have been taken over by non-native species, which, by promoting native plants, in addition to getting the word about good things about native plants, it sort of discourages non-native plants as well. So native plants are also foundational to our agriculture and natural resource economy. They support pollinators such as bees, butterflies, and others that are essential to crop production. And beyond agriculture, native plants strengthen biodiversity, improve soil health, help manage stormwater, and contribute to the restoration of critical habitats, which are all important environmental values which we're all trying to advance. And so in the process, the bill would support education and community engagement. Having this designated month would provide a platform for schools, local governments, conservation groups, nurseries, and garden centers to highlight the value of native plants and encourage Marylanders to incorporate them into landscapes, parks, and restoration projects. I just want to mention as well that, I mentioned back 3 years ago, we set up a program, Space in the University of Maryland Extension Program. They produced this awesome guide, which is the only one, as far as I know, about native plants in Maryland. And so this would be a great guide to provide education on native plants, in schools and at nurseries. So in conclusion, the bill will help expand demand for native plants, supporting local nurseries and growers while advancing our environmental goals. Thank you for your consideration, Madam Chair.
Sure. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Harrison Palmer, Chief of Staff at the Maryland Department of Agriculture. We are very proud to be in support of this bill. I want to thank the sponsor for introducing it. This legislation aligns directly with our ongoing commitment to ecological stewardship and the economic vitality of Maryland's nursery industry. In 2024, MDA stood up the Maryland Native Plant Program, which has been extremely successful. We've certified 34 locations across the state, which represent 11 counties and Baltimore City. Our program is specifically designed to support the marketing and awareness of native plants, their role in the ecological system, their support to the agricultural community, and their growing popularity within Maryland's $312 million economic growth in the nursery greenhouse sector over the last year. So we're very excited to support this bill and continue the ongoing support of Maryland's native plants. So thank you.
Two choices. Hi, I'm Mary Ellen Pease, and I'm here to urge your favorable support for this zero-cost, zero-mandate bill designating every May as Maryland Native Plant Month. It gives homeowners, educators, communities a predictable volunteer window to install rain and pollinator gardens, plant trees, and plenty more. These tools absorb intense rainfall, filter excess sediment and stormwater runoff, and support our pollinators. All practices that protect Maryland's iconic seafood industry, tourism and agriculture, economic sectors all depend on clean water and thriving ecosystems. Thousands of volunteers already partner with our state agencies like DNR's tree planting programs and countless more. This bill can exponentially amplify that effort But it all starts with awareness, and the key catalyst to leveraging this volunteer force is that. Right now, FEMA disaster relief is gutted, climate resilience funding is eliminated, and EPA protections are rolled back. This bill costs nothing, mandates nothing, but delivers a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Matt Stegman from the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, here in support of House Bill 217. We think this bill provides a great education opportunity on the many benefits of native plants. Some of the benefits for our air, water, our air, our land, and our economy have been highlighted by other folks on the panel. Wanted to talk about native plants and what they do for our water. Having native plants on the land creates healthy habitats for submerged aquatic vegetation to thrive. These bay grasses absorb excessive nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus. This helps prevent algae blooms and the low oxygen dead spots that we see in the bay during the warmer months. Underwater grasses provide habitat for economically and ecologically important animal species like crabs and juvenile striped bass. They provide habitat and food for migratory waterfowl, including ducks and geese. So if you want to have more crabs, more rockfish, if you enjoy hunting season, you want to make sure that you're supporting those things by supporting native plants. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the bill sponsor and to your sponsor panel. Seeing if we have any questions. Seeing no questions from the committee, so we will move on to additional testimony in favor of the bill. Marlene Smith, Marie Laporte, Esther Boney, and Brandon Carberry.
Good afternoon. I'm Marie Laporte, speaking on behalf of the Sierra Club's Maryland chapter in support of HB 217. Native plants are more than scenery. They are the lifeblood of our economy and our heritage. They are a minuscule part of our landscape, though. This decline isn't just an aesthetic loss, it's an economic threat. You've already heard about the importance to water quality, so I won't repeat that here. But the disappearance of native plants has also triggered a crisis for our pollinators. Across America, half of native bees are in serious decline, and 1/4 of native bees are now classified as rare, threatened, or endangered. In Maryland, these pollinators are the silent engines of the $3 billion agriculture industry. Bees pollinate 71 of the top 100 food crops and are crucial for Maryland's economy. Even wind-pollinated staples like corn and soybeans see higher yields when native bees are present. But these bees must have native plants. We urge a favorable report on HB 217 to help drive public awareness of these essential plants.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Esther Boney. I am a freshman at the University of Maryland and the founder of Nurture Natives, a youth-led nonprofit empowering young people through native biodiversity restoration. Across the United States, 41% of ecosystems are at risk of collapse. Here in Maryland, we are already witnessing the impacts of biodiversity loss. For young people such as myself, this future is not distant, it is ours. Native plants are one of the most effective and accessible tools we have to restore our ecosystems. Anyone can plant a seed, nurture it, and see that they are making an impact. Native Plant Month would create a clear annual opportunity to bring that experience to communities across the state. Through my nonprofit, I have worked with over 10,000 students, and I can attest that your young people care deeply about their future and Maryland's ecosystems. I respectfully urge a favorable report on House Bill 217. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Vice Chair Kerr, and members of the committee. My name is Brandon Carberry, and I own Ecoplantia, a Maryland native plant business. I'm here in support of establishing May as Maryland Native Plant Month. I'd like to speak from an industry perspective. Maryland's horticulture industry generates nearly $1.7 billion annually and supports over 20,000 jobs, with hundreds of nursery operations across the state. Native plants support an entire in-state economy from seed collectors and growers to nurseries, garden centers, landscape professionals, and educators. Demand for native plants is growing rapidly each year. Designating May as Maryland Native Plant Month aligns awareness with peak planting season when homeowners, schools, and communities are making decisions. That translates directly into support for Maryland growers and increased adoption of environmentally beneficial landscapes. Native plants are a practical solution for pollinators, stormwater, and healthier landscapes. I respectfully urge a favorable report. Thank you.
Madam Chair and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Marlene Smith. I'm the president of Wild Ones Chesapeake Bay, one of the 5 Maryland chapters of the national organization Wild Ones. Our mission is to promote native landscapes through education, advocacy, and collaborative action. We are passionate, boots-on-the-ground volunteers who promote native plants and natural landscapes thriving in every community. I'm here today to support House Bill 217. Maryland is considered a leader in the native plant movement in the U.S. and is the envy of other states. In 2021, we were the first state in the country to pass a law prohibiting HOAs from banning low-impact landscaping. In 2023, we passed legislation establishing the Maryland Native Plant Program, the first of its kind state-led initiative aimed at making native plants the norm and not the exception. Witnesses today have given you many reasons for the importance of native plants and the need for this bill. I urge you to please support the nurseries, the consumers, the biodiversity that calls Maryland home, our future generations that depend on your decisions today, and the individuals and organizations who are working tirelessly to do our part, one native plant at a time, to save our treasured Chesapeake Bay and its watershed for future generations. Thank you.
Thank you all for your testimony, for being here today as well. All right, seeing no questions from the committee, we appreciate your testimony. This also concludes our bill hearing on HB 217. We do have some announcements. Delegate Kerr.
The Government Operations and Ethics Subcommittee will meet as soon as you can get on the Zoom link, because we have to be back on the floor at 5.
Are there any more announcements? No. No. Okay, you're good. All right. Delegate Roof, do you have an announcement?
Thank you. For tomorrow, Madam Chair, the Labor Subcommittee is going to meet tomorrow after local government, but we don't know exactly yet what time that's going to be, so stay tuned.
Okay. Seeing that adjourns us for.
So the local government will meet right after 4. We have just one bill. So
Okay. All right. Okay, that adjourns the committee for today. Thanks, everyone.